I'm Debbie,
And I'm Allison.
and we're the Vulture Gals. Spooky. Hi, I'm Debbie,
And I'm Allison.
and we're the Vulture Gals. Welcome back to another episode of the Vulture Gals. This week we're coming at you, we're gonna be covering Wickenburg, Arizona.
Yeah.
Also, Allison is sick.
Debbie gave me
I gave it to her, finally. After me being sick for so long, it's finally her turn.
So if there's a lot of jumps in this, it's because I'm cutting out all the coughs.
All of them.
So I'm so sorry.
We're sorry.
But allergy season here is not the greatest, and
I got blown away this morning by the wind, so. I came in and I was like, Allison, look what it did to my hair. And she was like, nothing. Your hair looks fine. I was like, but is it? I don't know anymore.
oh my child.
Anyway, Allison's popping a cough drop over here. Last time she was shoving cough drops down my throat. Now she's shoving
Yeah.
cough drops down her own throat.
No. Greatly not so sponsored, but sponsored by HEB Cough Drops.
Thanks, HEB. We love you. But anyway, this episode, we're going to be talking about the Vulture mine. That's right. We're going old school.
Yeah.
We're going mining. You know what they
Yeah.
say? Don't sell alcohol to minors.
Dude, speaking of, if y'all have not been tuning in to Terrifying Tales, y'all probably should.
Oh my gosh.
Because
The last episode was my episode, right? It was the one I read.
honestly, I
Tuesdays?
don't even remember.
I don't know.
I have 2.5 months worth that need to be pushed out. But we are in one of the books, I think it's Rocky Mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Either Rocky Mountains or Old West. But we're in like the mining chapter of that one.
So this goes right along with it.
Yeah, so if I don't even remember which one got pushed out, but
I'm excited.
whichever one it is, I've been pushing them out, but be sure to tune into those because one of them is about a mining town in Canada.
Ooh.
It's called the Mile
Canada.
108 Inn. And that
spooky.
one kind of ties into what you were telling me earlier before we started recording about murder, mystery, killers, thrillers. But yeah.
Exciting.
So
Well, today, like I said, we're talking about the Vulture Mine in Wickenburg, Arizona. Also, wait, don't we have another exciting announcement about Terrifying Tales?
we do.
Yeah.
What's that?
Now Terrifying Tales has its own channel.
It does, yes.
So if you guys like listening to our episodes, but you hate our normal episodes and you only want Terrifying Tales
Yeah.
all the time, it has its own podcast now.
Yes.
So
and
go like, comment, and subscribe to our new Terrifying Tales.
Yeah. So that one will continue to be released on our stuff
Mm-hmm.
every Tuesday. And then on its own channel, it'll be released every Thursday.
Yes. So go and check that out. And sorry I forgot about that announcement. All right, let's get into it.
Okay.
Allison, let's get started into the history.
Thanks. So as you mentioned, Vulture Mine is in Arizona,
Mm-hmm.
and it is considered to be the central character in a dime novel.
Which, if you don't know what a dime novel is, it's basically like those, like old school, like paperback novels that like
Mhm.
your grandma read on the couch that probably had some nudity in it.
Oh.
Maybe it was a little X-rated. No. But yeah, just basically those old school paperbacks.
So it said that this book would have myths, legends, facts, and continue to stir imagination, which consisted of ghosts, men, animals lost in the glory hole.
Lost in
Indian.
the glory hole.
Yeah, it's
I want to be in
quotations.
your glory hole. Ew. No, I
Ew.
don't. Never mind. Disgusting.
No,
I'm thinking to redact that.
please
Then
don't.
I didn't say
no.
that.
It also had Indian attacks, billion robberies, golden fortunes, lost veins, and personalities as grand and as sweeping as the desert winds that are a part of the Arizona history.
Ooh.
So lots of, cool little folklore kind of stuff if you're into that.
Yeah, all the Arizonians out there know what we're talking about.
And I hope so. And if they do, I really hope that they email us because we need more of this
We
information.
need more ghost stories.
Yes.
Arizonian ghost stories.
And if you have a really good story, maybe it'll make it into a full-length episode and not just a terrifying tale.
Yes, we are wanting to do listener tales. So if you guys are out there and you have something you wanna share with us, want to get it out into the world, we can be your vessels of which to get it out.
And that's
possess us with your stories.
Yeah, and it's any kind of story, personal experiences, just ghost stories that your family has had that you want to pass down because
anything.
Not everybody, like
and
some
I do
people
mean
over here,
anything.
don't want kids. So
I'm winking for those of you who can't see.
So dumb.
Anyway.
So dumb. So Wickenburg fell 1 vote short of being named the territorial capital.
Dang.
Which is...
Sucks for them. Suck.
Very depressing that they came so close, yet so far. Jack Swilling, a one-time mine and mill owner, addict and hero, is noted as the father of Phoenix. Hall Tabor, the legendary Silver King from Leadville, Colorado, once owned the Vulture and later said it was the worst mining decision he has ever made.
Dun dun dun.
Michael Goldwasser, a.k.a. Goldwater, just because it makes sense and easier to pronounce for people like me that suck
people
at
like
speaking.
me.
The grandfather of famous Arizona politician and presidential candidate Barry Goldwater had an earlier lean on the days loaned at the Vulture $35,000 to buy water pumps and continue operation. The money was quickly paid back, and the Goldwater brothers eventually operated a successful business in Phoenix and Prescott. Michael then became the founder and first president of the Arizona Democratic Party.
Interesting.
So, I guess that's the way we need to go.
Yeah.
Create a gold mine. Become president.
Get some gold.
Yeah.
Be a president.
It's great, right? After President Polk formally announced that the rumors of rich gold strikes in California were real, a grand exodus from the East Coast and Europe began, with the destination being California's gold fields.
And did you know that's how blue jeans got invented? Was by the California Gold Rush. I feel like I've said that before as a fact on one of the episodes.
I think you did.
I talk about things a lot. Also, a lot of these stories all come together.
It's funny how some of these really do, overlap and you just don't process it.
Yeah. And it's so interesting just hearing, oh, this even affected people in Europe. This affected people in Arizona. It wasn't just, this was a time. This was back in the day. They were flying by the seat of their pants, trying to get the seat of their blue jeans, trying to get some gold.
I mean, if you think about it, that's why so many people migrated east. No, west. Never. West. Yikes. It's so sad that I can only remember the compass by never eat soggy worms.
Wait, I thought it was never eat sour watermelon.
I always know it's soggy worms.
Soggy worms? Of course don't eat those.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Exactly. So never eat soggy worms.
Well, anyway, the people went to this East Coast just to get a chance of getting rich.
They went to the West Coast.
No, East Coast.
From the East Coast.
East Coast to the West Coast. You're right.
Come on,
East Coast to West Coast.
I'm supposed to be the dumb one.
I'm sorry. Our roles are reversed right now. But anyway, and then there you go. Blue jeans got invented. That's all I wanted to chime in here.
Yikes. So Easterners braved the long overland trek by wagon, and Europeans braved the ocean voyage around the Cape to reach the port in San Francisco.
Ooh. Henry
Wickenburg, a Parisian by birth, is first noted in some of the Mother Lodge gold towns around 1852. Probably too late to get in on the easy early placer locations. There was no Phoenix, no Flagstaff, or Prescott.
It did not exist.
No, unfortunately. and most of the population was Mexican, and most were in Tucson.
Tucson, yeah.
Tucson. What?
You really pronounce that C in there. Tucson. Tucson. It's just Tucson.
That's so dumb.
I don't know.
I mean, I say that, and then yet we are that has a freaking Pflugerville, Texas.
I was gonna say, like,
and then we also have Bear County.
We have Mahia.
Yeah, Mahia, Bear County. That's spelled
Pflugerville. And you're getting mad at Tucson?
Yeah, you're right.
It's because of the Indian tribes and the amount of diverse populations.
Tucson has nothing to do with that, though.
That's how the name came about.
Okay, maybe. So, Indian tribes abandoned with notorious Apaches creating the most fear.
Scary.
Roads were pretty much non-existent.
Yeah, back in 1852.
Yeah, you just kind of like word of mouth of how to get there.
Yeah, they were just wagon wheeling across the country, horse-drawn carriages. They were just buggy and cart.
You just like go as far east or west as you
just keep going until you hit the ocean. That's pretty much all you can do.
So, as the easiest of gold gathering in California began to play out, miners gradually moved towards Southern California, then through Yuma, and up to Colorado or into Arizona, still seeking riches. Which I didn't realize this, but until I was reading this mining book. But if you look, apparently there are like what they call like gold veins. So like if you look carefully enough, there's like trails of gold, like little pieces.
Like throughout the map or like
the ground.
Oh.
Like if you looked at the ground and they would travel in groups, and if you go to certain parts, there might be like little faint trails of gold, and that's how you know that the land might be prosperous and gold.
And now we just have metal detectors and machines that do it for us.
Yeah, because
also we have GPS, so we don't gotta worry about
has gotten
lazy.
I was gonna say I don't know if it's very smart, very lazy, or both.
I think we got smart so we could get lazy. I think that's the key. I think as our smartness levels go up, our lazy levels go down. What does it think? Smarter, not harder.
It's but at some point once your smartness level gets so high, then you just become stupid because then you're depending so much on technology. Because if you think about it, that's why Google's here.
Ooh. Our master overlord, Google.
I can Google something and not even have to know it. Yeah.
Interesting. That's a hot take from Allison. Thanks for tuning in.
Yikes. Henry Wickenburg was to sign an expedition, which was founded by A.H. Peoples. Is that how people is supposed to be spelled?
Maybe. I don't know.
P-E-O?
This is P-E-P-L-E-S. Peoples.
Maybe we're the dumb ones.
I think so.
We are getting dumb.
Maybe we are getting dumb, right? Anyway.
Which was led by an old Southwest Scot, Paulina Weaver.
Go Paulina.
Which also, if y'all haven't figured out, women in this time period doing anything was non-existent.
Yep, back in the 1800s.
Yeah. So there was a group of about 30 people that crossed the Colorado River into Arizona territory in the spring of 1836 and headed east.
You mean 1863?
Oh, yeah.
Not 36.
Not 36.
Yeah, that was too far back.
Too far.
Just 30 years too far.
I went too far. You know, like the 1090, what was it? 2090, whatever.
Yeah, where you just started adding numbers into
went too far in the future.
But yeah, this was in 1863.
1863, yes. They were headed east.
Now they're going east.
Yeah, now they're going east. But they did eventually stumble onto the richest surface finds of gold that are known. At what is known as Rick Hill in central Arizona, they found nuggets. And that's almost kind of like it's almost like little pebbles.
That's cute.
In a sense of
Pebbles.
Pebbles, yeah. Pebbles. And that's why I'm like, that's what the gold veins are. It's like almost little pebbles of what they would find.
And so apparently this place was just like covered in it.
They found nuggets, flakes, and pieces of coal that they could dig up with spoons, knives, and picked up with their hands.
I know what? I'm just going to get me a sharp spoon. That's all you need in the world. Someone's coming out at you in the dark, sharp spoon.
Wouldn't that just be a spork?
Yeah, but I mean like the edges are sharp on the spoon, not like tines of the fork.
But wouldn't that be like that one, those weird spoons that like have the knives?
Allison
like
has a
razor
spork
and then
for
the spork
self-defense.
Hey, man.
This is my self-defense spork. No, I'm kidding.
Don't you go sporking around me?
I'm sorry. I'll never spork near you ever again.
Yikes! I think we need a chill. So, there was a nearby town named Weaver that was from an earlier explorer. But the surface gold was soon depleted, and while some remained to dry wash, others moved on to nearly contemporaneous.
Good
strike.
job.
Wait, that's actually how you pronounce that?
I think so. I think you did a good job.
Wow.
I'm proud of you. Give it up for Allison. Sick Allison, finally.
Is that what I need to pronounce?
Just takes
words?
you being destroyed. She might have bronchitis, guys.
I'm sorry. I get it twice a year every year.
And now's the time. Wait, but it's 2021. I mean, wait.
I get it.
It's 2023.
Now guess who's going back
now
in time?
who's going back in time? It's 2023. So does this count as like the end of 2022 or does this count as the beginning of...
I always get it around January to February.
Mm-hmm.
And then November to December.
Oh, okay.
So it's always the beginning and the end of the year.
So, like, just for 4 months, you're sick.
It's like the weather change. It's the constant weather change.
Thanks, Texas.
Yeah. If any of you know what Texas is like, it's like November to February. Texas can't decide if it wants to be hot or cold.
It was literally like 81 degrees yesterday, and then I'm literally wearing a jacket right now because it was so cold. And the wind was crazy. And then guess what? It's probably going to freeze again, and everybody's going to go crazy and lose their minds.
I know. I started buying the big packs of toilet paper.
Oh, Allison, a toilet paper hoarder.
No, but I buy that one big pack that's like 36 rolls, and then
it lasts me a year.
It actually lasts me 3 or 4 months.
Wow.
But it's like
she don't wipe her butt very good. No, I'm kidding.
Listen, I buy the extra cushy.
Ooh, I get it.
It's
the
not
Charmin Ultra Soft only.
It's not. It's funny that you bring that one up because I was actually going to bring that exact one up. Whoops. I buy the HEB one.
Oh.
It's the buddy bag. Duh.
Yet again.
So, back on this. Speaking of strikes. Oh, wait. I don't think there's ever been a strike at HEB, but I'm going to pretend that there was. And
no,
there wasn't. So, there was a strike near Prescott in Walker Mining District. And this is kind of where it circles back to Henry. He and 2 companies, Isaac Van Biber, and Theodore Green, a.k.a. Rusk, took advice from an earlier pioneer, King Woolsey, who was in the area. Woolsey suggested that they traveled to the
Harquahala.
Yeah. It's a big word that's mountains.
I assume it's a Native American word. It's Harquahala.
If that's a Native American word and you're Native American and you know how to pronounce that, please tell me.
Probably natives will. Like, I mean, people native to that area, but also Native Americans.
So it said that was a good spot for a gold strike.
Wow.
And the 3 then traveled by following streams and trails, reaching to the Harquahala, whatever.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it did come up empty. And on their return home, they noticed a conspicuous quartz. Conception. Yeah, you know what?
You did so good. I was so proud of you.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Conspicuous.
Conspicuous, yeah. No, it's
conspicuous.
That word's confusing. There we go. I was gonna say outside of the fact that I lost my place, but I'm Gucci. Maybe Louis Vuitton because I don't know how pricey I am right now. So the quartz was outcropping, but continued back to camp along the
River.
yeah. It's another very big word.
Hasayampa.
Hasambia River near present-day Wickenburg. And in November of the same year of 63, the three put up the location notice but failed to do much more. Wickenburg remained camped along the river. It's about 50 miles from the strike, while Green, having samples of gold quartz, left for Tucson.
Tucson, Arizona.
I'm not gonna do that, dude. Y'all need to change that name.
Just
make it easy.
Just take the C out. Yeah, but
Tucson?
then it would be Tucson.
Like Tucson?
But
like
it's
Robitussin?
Tucson. Yeah, but it's Tucson. So you gotta have that C in there. I don't know why.
That's so confusing.
The English language is confusing.
Anyway, that's why it's the second hardest language to learn.
For real.
So, outside of that being the second language to learn, Green's home in Van Bieber set off for California to obtain financing and supplies. In May of 1864, Henry Wickenburg and 4 different men went back to the claim and officially filed it, and at the same time organized the Vulture mining district, with Wickenburg as president and James A. Moore, a businessman, as a recording secretary. First work on the Vulture was to pick and shovel, and basically amounted to quarrying the exposed gold quartz. Early estimates from the unofficial records indicated 20 troy ounce per ton gold.
Interesting.
I don't know what any of that means.
I just mean that's a lot of gold.
Yeah.
At least that's what I'm picking up.
It's they found a dollar.
They found a dollar.
A whole lot of dollars. Later, they would file under Murray versus Wickenburg and Associates. Murray and Roberts had brought from Green what they felt was 1/3 share. But Wickenburg claimed that the Vulture was yielding $700 a day.
So a lot of dollars.
Yes. Gold prices during this time, which is in the 60s, could range from anywhere from $20 to $47 an ounce.
Wow.
Which is insane. The claim was heard by Judge Joseph Allen, who found in favor of Wickensburg Group. Van Bieber was later paid $10,000 to quit claim the subsequent new owners. Despite the prosperous find, problems arose: distance from water from mining and miling, lack of knowledge of even simple recovery, transportation shortcomings, Indians, lack of good labor, theft, and basically all the bad stuff. So thieves, Indians, all that.
Old West, shoot 'em ups.
The plague, would eventually come around to the mine.
That's so sad.
And would kind of strike the mine down.
Yeah. And I looked it up, and the $47, or like about $47, if that's what they were getting per ounce, that's almost $1,500 today.
Jesus.
Yeah. So in 163 years, the inflation is now the purchasing power of about $1,268.
Jeez.
So $1,200.
That's
per ounce of gold.
Yeah. That's a ton. And the fact that they're just finding that every day.
He said it was bringing home $700. Was I saying $700 a day? Back when it was being good. That's $25,000 a day.
Jeez.
Yeah. So they were bringing home a lot of money.
They were banking.
Until bad stuff.
Yeah. Until the theft.
Yeah.
Plague. Indians.
Yeah.
But it didn't end there. Wickenburg had to sell the mine for $15 a ton plus a royalty for anyone who would dig, load, and transport to the river.
Wow.
Build and work in a restaurant? Sure. Once word was out that the area was trampled by prosecutors looking for another Vulture claims that the dinosaur, turkey, buzzard, Apache, Harriet's wall, and this writer's favorite was the Whopper were all recorded within 6 months. None ever proved productivity.
Dang.
So, that's fun. Within 2 years of the discovery, Henry Wickenburg and the other claimant, the people that laid claim on it, sold most of the original footage, and the Vulture Mining Company under East Coast Aspects took over. And later on, the town grew and developed within mill sites and were established along the river. Sites then moved as wood supply used to produce steam energy was depleted, and in 1883, recipients indicated the mine and mill was used up to 15 cords of wood a day.
Wow.
Jeez, there's a lot of history. Despite desert trees were cut for miles around the area, freighters hauled in wood and supplies, and large mining equipment was floated up to the Colorado to La Paz, and then hauled some 150 miles overload to Vulture Mine.
Interesting.
And Wickenburg then became a business supply center. Phoenix was still wasn't valuable as a town, and Prescott, Tucson, and Yama were the principal settlements.
Interesting.
And
you said Tucson right. I'm proud of you.
I purposely, I was like, I gotta memorize it. So in 1880s, it was decided to build a 15-mile, 6-inch pipeline from the river to the mine site. This would cost $2,400 a mile, and 6 months of grueling labor accomplished the task, and water was then delivered to the mine and mill site. Once the water was available in the small town, Vulture City, which was the first Vulture City, was a mill site north of present-day Wickenburg, grew and developed.
Wow.
And 10 years later, the disastrous Walnut Grove Dam collapsed, flooded the river, and destroyed much of the pipeline, which was actually never repaired, but the 300-foot level of the mine and finally a well were in use on the property. Eventually, the mill would increase to 80 stamps, which ran day and night with a thunder that could be heard in Vicksburg on a clear and windless day. Electricity came to Vulture in the early 1900s, but until 1913, when their first truck was purchased, horses and wagons were both mine and personal transport were used.
That's what I said earlier. Still cart and buggy. Horse.
Yeah.
Horse and buggy.
And so, that's kind of insane until 1913.
They also did not have power, so.
Yeah, that's true. So the miners and a few families began to settle in Vulture City. A schoolhouse and some smaller school stuff operated from 1908 to 1915, but the population seemed to never get above 500.
Probably because these were just working guys. They weren't, settling there for families.
Following the successful swelling irrigation company, Charles T. Hayden, who was involved in mining measures, established another irrigation company and grain storage in what is now Tempe. And it would be the Hayden Library, and land for building ASU came from Hayden. The Vulture mine often went through long periods of shutdowns, startups, leases, and exploration activities. The faulting mismanagement, low gold price, and high overhead accounted for much of the downtime. At least twice, the property was sold for back taxes at the sheriff's auction. Once the rich ores played out, reworking of tails became a prominent and lucrative undertaking.
Ooh, money.
While some underground mining of pillars in overlooked areas continued, the veins of profitable gold thinning and the lode lost by faulting.
Dang.
For the final time in 1916, Numerous attempts to find extensions were unproductive. The last try was carried out in 1931 by Rawhide Jimmy Douglas, a Little Daisy fame. After much conjured and drilling, Douglas put down a 500-foot, right foot?
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming it's 500 because
Yeah.
if it's 500 inches, I think you got to, especially the next word, shaft. If you got a 500-inch shaft, I think you got a problem there.
Got a problem.
That was to intersect the faulted lost lode, but it turned out to be a loss of money.
Bam, bam.
A waste of money. Lost. I'm so funny. Not really. So then we go into World War II.
And everybody knows about World War II.
Yes.
It's almost like it was World War or something. And we've talked about it like 100 times on the show.
Boy, oh boy, if there's only a building, we can lock some of them in.
No, we're not locking World War II veterans into the building.
Darn it. Ernest Dickey and John C. Lincoln held the Vulture. Dickey was a good mining man, and Lincoln was known to have the vision and the money. Together, they worked the Vulture into World War II. Common wisdom has it that the Vulture mine closed in 1942 and to never again reopen. But that scenario was incorrect. Apparently, the Vulture had obtained an exemption to mine during the war years, and state mining records indicate that as late as 1944, the Vulture was producing lead, minor copper, and gold.
Wow, so 2 more years.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of cool that it was able to, like,
Keep
going for 2 years, and then
it died.
it died. It'd be dead.
Well, it's dead. You know what that means? It's
Commercial
time.
break.
Commercial
Yeah?
break. Yeah.
Cool. And now, a word from our sponsors.
Spooky.
I'm dead. I feel like I'm gonna die.
Don't die, Allison. This week's episode is brought to you by Cough Drops from HEB. Thank you, Cough Drops from HEB.
It's only 4. I say it's only 4. It's 2 hours left, dude.
Well, now you can sit and chill and listen to me.
And now, back to the show.
Spooky. All right, and we're back. It's time to get into the hauntings.
Yay.
So as we know, the mine died in 1944. Today, the Vulture mine is privately owned, but it's open for the public for a small fee, obviously. You don't have to pay in gold, though. Guided tours are also provided. It's also overrun by the ghosts of the past. The long forgotten... Can you not interrupt me?
I'm so sorry. It's the ghosty speaking through me.
I know. But anyway, it's overrun by the ghosts of the long-forgotten miners who love to haunt gullible tourists. Tourists and staff alike often hear footsteps creeping up behind them, strange disembodied voices whispering in their ears, and ghostly apparitions wandering around the mines. Many often report shadows on the walls when no one else is there, and the sound of pickaxes striking the walls is also quite common. Pickaxes. One of the more infamous ghosts is that of Jimmy Davis. Jimmy was a really hard-working man, well known amongst his colleagues for getting the job done right. Well, one day, while Jimmy was working the mines, the pulley system malfunctioned.
Is he the one-armed ghost that's in one of these books?
Wait, maybe. So the pulley system malfunctioned. Jimmy then got on a ladder to fix the belt when guess what? His arm got stuck.
Yikes.
You spoiled it.
I promise I wasn't trying to, but in one of the books we're reading, it has a one-armed ghost.
Well, this is Jimmy. He's the one-armed ghost. Anyway, when his arm got stuck in the loop of the pulley, the belt tightened, and when he tried to get out, and Jimmy was launched several feet into the air with his arm still stuck in the loop. Again, with people getting launched places. Getting
He's
launched out
got
of
a
windows.
blast.
He got a blast. I'm so sorry, Jimmy. And his arm was still stuck in it. So with this, his body smashed into multiple pieces of heavy machinery, breaking every bone in his entire body. Before it dumped his body hundreds of feet down into the central mine shaft below. The worst part was that Jimmy wasn't actually killed right away, and it took him 5 hours to die. 5 hours. He had cried and begged for mercy, being in excruciating pain, but it was no use. His body was too far down for anybody to go and recover it. Now, Jimmy's ghost still lives in the mine shaft. His blood-curdling screams can still be heard echoing through the mines, though some have heard his cries for help in other parts of the Vulture City grounds. Others claim to hear the sounds of the pulley machine whipping around as if it were still malfunctioning. Paranormal investigators actually claim to have discovered Jimmy's spirit still hanging out around the mine's powerhouse, and his ghost has been seen at the entrance of the mine on multiple occasions. And again, it's the same. He's a one-armed ghost, which is sad. The ghosts of the high graders who were punished by death are also still seen around the mines. The hanging tree is said to have been the burial site of dozens of men who were condemned after being caught red-handed. 18 men were actually hung from the hanging tree, but it's not known if they were all buried there or like if they were just hung there and like their spirits still hang around. Either way, actually, many tourists claim to have been harassed by ghosts, and these dead thieves. So basically, these men were trying to steal from these mines, as we mentioned. Like people tried to rob from these places all the time.
Yeah.
And these were the men that got caught. And were put to death.
Oh, dumb.
Yeah. Tourists have had rocks thrown at them while near the hanging tree, and they've also heard footsteps scurrying around them near the area, and some have even heard strange voices call them by their own name, which I think is terrifying.
Getting catcalled by the dead?
Yeah.
Yikes. No thanks.
And then again, like back in the day, like there were people trying to, what were they called? Like when they like stagecoach robberies and like, the fool cowboys and Indians. Anyway, so there was this group of three. Oh, they're called highwaymen. Highwaymen, when they would like steal people when they're like traveling between these places.
Yeah, sure. Those people, the people that thieves and yeah.
Well, so there was a group of thieves that actually got killed in a freak accident that now still haunt Vulture City.
That's a sad story.
So a particularly prosperous area at the head of the mine, which we called it earlier, the Glory Hole, was the site of like where much of the high grading. Once the main body of the ore was like dug out, they called it the high grading area. And this is where the miners would then come around sunset and begin to dig out the remaining ore near those support beams. But eventually, after a while, guess what? There was no rock to support the beams because they were digging it out. And with that, as they slowly dug away the dirt, causing the beams to become unsupported, do you know what happened?
It goes.
Yep, that's right. It went and it collapsed. This glory hole collapsed, actually trapping and killing 7 men and 12 donkeys.
Poor donkeys.
I know, they didn't ask for this.
Yeah, they just trying to, they're forced into labor.
And since it had collapsed, there was no way for anybody to get to them. So just like in the story of Jimmy Davis, who was at the bottom of the well shaft, or at the bottom of the mine shaft, no one can get to their bodies. So it is said that their bodies are still there to this day.
Hi.
What?
I think I might have just made myself overly excited for nothing.
Their bodies are still there to this day, and the ghosts haunt the former glory hole. The apparitions can be seen around the head of the mine, and witnesses report unusual cold spots and feelings of being watched. That are the ghost sightings for the Vulture gold mine. I know that, like, there's probably a lot more bad stuff that happened around here. And, again, like, this is Native American land, so This is just like the tragedies that happen inside the mine itself, not even counting the surrounding areas. This area is said to be very haunting. Very haunted. And one of, the theories we always talk about is that it's due to the amount of minerals in the soil, So maybe that all the ore and the materials are actually drawing upon the spirits themselves. And I mean, like, quartz was in this mine as well. So quartz helps amplify things. So guess what? It's amplifying these spirits.
Oh.
It's amplifying those ghosts. And I mean, it's just so sad to think about, how, again, this was back in the day. This was in manual labor. We talked about, like they were having to dig with pickaxes and shovels, and they didn't have no GPS. They didn't even have lights until, like, the end, like, towards the end.
So sad.
It is very sad, but it's very interesting to see, just like the workplace hazards. I don't think they got paid hazard pay back in the day, did they?
I'm going to go with no.
I'm going to go with no, too.
Because if they did, then we probably need to be raising hazard pay now.
But yeah, and I mean, again, this was all just like people trying to get rich and do what they thought was best for their families. And these people were really just explorers of the the end of the 1800s and early 1900s.
Yeah, 1860s.
Yeah.
To like 1940.
So almost 100 years. And I mean, again, like the gold rush started in about the 1850s. So this was late edition after the California Gold Rush, where, again, people were just following those veins and just going where the wind took them, or I guess going where the gold took them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all of the hauntings for this week.
Sorry, Deborah.
That is the story of the Vulture Gold Mine.
Yeah. I wish somebody would mind this cough out of me, but I guess not.
Sorry.
I guess if we were in the 1800s, I might have died of the cough.
You probably would have. Yeah, you probably would have died. Like, you would have been dead already back in the 1800s. I probably would have been dead, too.
Yikes.
Thanks, modern medicine.
Right.
And with that, I'm Debbie.
And I'm Allison.
And we're
the Vulture Gals.
Yay!
And on this week's episode... Oh, wait. We already did it.
That. Don't forget to go like, comment, and subscribe. Bye!
Bye!
You've been listening to The Vulture Gals,
a Rogue Media Network podcast.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.